Hello folks, welcome back to another Relab Life episode. This time I'm going to share with you another design sprint technique, a Google Venture design sprint technique. Previously I've done one which is the lightning demo. This one is another personal favorite of mine. It's the user journey mapping. It's one of the most important one, arguably, and that's why it's designed for it to happen on day one of the design sprint. The reason why is this is where the team gets to focus on a certain target within a journey map that's going to kind of determine what the focus is for the rest of the sprint week. Okay, so hopefully you find this useful. So at Relab, when we facilitate design sprints, typically it's something around transactional products, whether it's an e-commerce or anything that involves adding products to a shopping cart and purchasing it and the experiences around it, right? So I'll show you an example of how we do it and why I think it's important, okay? So first of all, let's go to the whiteboard over here. What you want to lay out, and there's different ways of doing this, but I find the best way is for you to start with what the stages are, the stages of your customers. So I'm gonna do an example of, say, a startup website for an artist who's selling jewelries online, which is my wife, by the way, Irene. So I'll do one example about that. So the stages that you like to start with is, first of all, it's called discover. And then you want to picture an end goal. So you write goal at the very end of your paper or whiteboard. Now goal, there could be multiple goals for a user. So I'll just say goals, right? And then you want to outline how people would find out about your brand or your website. So let's say for this one, people would find out from social media. Just list down as many as you can. So social media, word of mouth, what else? It might be events or markets, like arts and crafts markets. Or it could be from, I don't know, I can't even think about anything else, but let's leave it there. So social media, word of mouth, events and markets. And remember, this is a stage where we currently don't have a website yet, where people are just discovering about us. Now, the goals for my customers would be, and keep on thinking about your customer here. So customers, what they want is to receive their purchases or items. Another goal for a customer might just be being able to compare competitors' product. So there could be other goals as well, but let's leave it there for now. But I think the main one in this purpose is for the customers to actually receive their item. So once you've got that listed, then you want to draw, or you want to write down the different stages that connects between the discover and the goals. So after I'm discovering it, I'll be learning. So learning about the website, learning about the product, it could be anything. I'll be using it, use, and I'll be making my decision, committing to it or decide. Now, as a team, usually what we would do in a sprint is we're going to try and connect the point where we discovered a product to the point where the customer would receive their goal or would accomplish their goal, I must say. So how do we do this? We'll just go through this one by one. Essentially, from social media, word of mouth, events or markets, my customers would ideally be directed to my website, mywebsite.com. And then in this website, I'm learning about so many things. And I'm using it, right? So I'm learning and I'm using, what are the things that I'm what are the things that I'm learning? It might be about my story, my product or story. The other thing that I'm doing is browse for product category. I might be category or collection. I might be finding where to buy in store. So you're looking for a stockist. What else? Let's assume those are the things that I'm looking at. Or another thing is I want to subscribe to news and product updates. Okay, so once you've got this, then what else is happening? So about my product, browse. This is where the experience could branch out sometimes. So for example, I'm browsing for products, I'm reading story. Reading story could really sometimes get into browsing the product, or this too could even link to purchasing or buying. Or even before buying, maybe there's a detail page first where I'd be reading about a specific product. As I'm reading it, I'm buying it. I want to buy, and this will lead me to receiving the items. But between this and that might be delivery, organized delivery. Okay. So that's an experience of receiving an item, and then eventually you will receive the item. The other thing is, one of the other goals is to compare items versus other competitors. So I think as you're reading about a specific product, you can compare it to other competitors or to other products in the market that are similar, perhaps. Finding where to buy in store. Another goal from this might be going into a store to check out product. Subscribe to news and updates. The goal from here might be receive regular news updates about the brand. Okay, so that's one example of how we would do it, and obviously I've kind of simplified it here and there, but that's kind of a typical user journey, and it's a very simple one because you're not overthinking it, and the purpose of a design sprint for you to be able to make quick layouts like this without having to invest months of work to do it. But usually that's kind of enough for you to focus on. You don't want it to be so complicated as well, because the team's going to get confused. And typically in a design sprint scenario, because we realize that it's only 1 week of time, then we would decide what is the most important one, or what is the most valuable experience for the customer that's going to be a high impact thing for the business, and focus on that experience to be the sprint purpose. Okay, so from this, what we're seeing is, okay, that's how I discover we're working on this project, which is mywebsite.com. What is the most important experience here that's going to be so important to my business that everything else might be more, I guess, might be less significant? So in in a website like this, let's say if I'm the decider in the sprint, I'd go, okay, from the home page, the most important thing is the thing that's going to drive sales to my business, which is for customers to actually receive their items and be happy about it. So I'm going to focus on a certain experience around a shopping experience. So I'm going to circle everything that has a relation to shopping, which is browsing for my product, reading about my product, buying, organizing delivery, receive the item. So the ones that I've highlighted there in red is going to be the focus for what we're going to do in the next 1 week. Because if we achieve this, everything else becomes secondary, which is about my product or about my story. Your customers might care about it, but realistically, probably 50% of people won't care about it as well. What they want to do is look at the product, read a little bit of a description about it, and make sure that's the right product that they want. So people act very quickly like that. Finding where to buy in store, that might be another secondary thing that you'd like to consider. And then subscribing to news, that might be a tertiary thing even. But you want to focus on the experience of shopping. And by doing that as a team, and if you do this in a team situation, everyone's aligned on what the focus is, and that's very, very important. And that's why in a sprint situation, we always have this map on the wall somewhere throughout the week to remind everyone that this is the focus, so everyone won't get distracted by anything else, because it's very easy during the process for people to start thinking about other things and lose the focus. So I hope that is quite helpful for you. Try to do it yourself. It's actually a very simple exercise if you know how to run it, and try to do it on simple things, smaller features even, like in a website. Even just focus on this buy process. If we elaborate further, you could really just focus on the buy process as well, okay? Hopefully that's a good example, but as usual, if you have questions, feel free to ask me or email me, and I'm more than happy to help you, okay? Thanks, guys.